Welcome to the world of 1984 RCA home video. What you see here are the latest RCA video components. They represent some of the most sophisticated technology and video system design concepts available today. This SelectaVision video cassette recorder is RCA's convertible VCR system. It's a fully featured stereo table model with cable-capable tuning, up to 21-day programming, and field-still special effects. But it's also a completely portable VCR system with no cabling or recabling required to convert it from in-home to on-the-go operation. It's the premier model in RCA's 1984 VCR line. The list of its performance and convenience features reads like a dictionary of the latest advances in VCR technology. From 8-hour recording capability to electronic tuning of up to 133 channels, up to 21-day 8-event programmability, stereo sound capability, and 18-function infrared remote control with special effects. The list goes on. It includes an LCD tape counter and record time indicator, audio and video dub, express record, and an innovative 5-video head scanning system for superlative field still special effects. Take a moment to admire it close up. The styling is impeccable. The most used function controls are clearly labeled and conveniently arranged for accessibility. The overall casework is a marvel of compactness. Less than 5 inches high, only 17 inches wide, and a little over 11 inches deep, a size that's perfect for virtually any component setup. Anyone who sees this instrument is bound to be impressed by its looks alone. Its complement of features and performance characteristics will make their eyes bulge, but when you show someone that the VJP 900 is RCA's convertible VCR, it'll take their breath away.
All right, now that your breath has officially been taken away, it's Databits here to go ahead and go through the teardown of this particular machine. And I'm going to show you how easy this thing is to work on. As you might imagine, it is a small VCR. It doesn't weigh a lot, and it is very, very compact. Everything inside, circuitry-wise, is very, very tightly packed in there. But it's easy to work on. So the one thing you're going to need, and I would suggest for this teardown, if you're going to repair one of these, is to wear rubber gloves, because more than likely the little belts on the inside are going to be turned into goo, and that goo has a tendency to get all over everything. You can look at my last video that I made, and my fingernails have little black places on them from the goo that came off the belts from this exact machine. So this one, I've already repaired it as much as I could. I think it's got some electrical problems. It might even have capacitor issues. And so I'm not going to worry about repairing it anymore, but I am going to show you how to repair it. All right, how's that sound? All right, so let's see. Camera angle looks good. Let's go ahead and first take those 2 screws off the top of this door, and then you hit the eject button, and you can push that little transport back inside there. Then we're going to go ahead and flip it around to the back, and there are a couple of screws here right on the back side, right here and right here. We're going to remove those, and I recommend using a power screwdriver, just not because we're lazy, but for the sake of these screws are kind of long, and you can speed up the process of removing these screws. So let's go ahead and push really hard to get that screw out of there. All right. So as soon as you remove those 2 screws on the back, then the unit is ready to have the cover lifted off. So I can go ahead and lift my cover off like that. And then there is a plug right here where the battery connects to the underside of the lid, and we're just going to pull that up. Okay, and we'll set the lid of the unit aside. Just set it off somewhere. It's convenient for you. Throw it on the floor or whatever. All right, so this is the top of the unit here, and we'll go ahead and kind of turn it around so you can kind of take a gander at the circuitry inside this unit. Again, very compact. There is a circuit board on the front of the unit. There is also a circuit board on the sides and on the bottom and on the back. It's basically surrounded by circuit boards. So what we're going to do next is remove the front panel. And you got to be careful with these little tabs because they are little thin plastic things, and they will have a tendency to break if you're not careful. All right, so the front cover is now almost off. Now the front cover is off, and these little thingies here kind of fell out. We'll put the thingies back down inside of there because they're going to sit on the outside just like that. Okay, so again, this front part here we can put aside. Now we're going to take the bottom part off, and there are 4 screws that hold the bottom together. There's 2 here and 2 here. Let's go ahead and remove those. All right, so I can go ahead and pull these screws out, set those aside as well. And at this point, now we can lift up the back cover off the top. Now, on the front of yours, there's going to be this little aluminum foil type thing right here. And it's hooked into the front right there. So you'd want to unhook it. Mine is kind of messed up now that I've opened and closed this so many times. So you'll pull that off, and it attaches with the front cover, or the bottom cover, I should say. So you can see that right there as it comes off. And again, put that off to the side. So our goal here is to get to some of the belts that are on the inside that have, again, turned to goo. There is a little screw that's right here on this side. We want to remove that, as well as the little bracket that's there with it. And then the rest of the disassembly of this thing is kind of like, I don't know, you ever remember those snap-together models that you could buy? Car models that just, you know, literally snap together. You didn't have to use glue. Well, that's kind of the rest of this process. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the front cover, or the front control panel circuit board first. Okay, that's this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift it off and unplug it from the top up here. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of give it a tug here, and there's little sections of plugs. Now you can probably see those on there. You can see the little pluggies right there. Well, the rest of the circuit boards that are going to come off of it also have those same type of connectors. This is the tracking control knob. We'll put that aside. There are a couple of little wires attached, and we'll need to pull those off. So let's pull this one off first. And then there's a little blue one here that comes off. Wiggle it back and forth, pull that off. One of the wiring harnesses comes through this hole. And once you do that removal, then here you go. You have removed that circuit board. And you may place that off to the side somewhere. Okay, so now we've got to do the sideboard here next. That's this one. And I guess for best viewing, I'll go ahead and put it on its side like I did the other one. And we're going to go ahead and pinch and pull these boards apart. And looky there, that just popped right off of there. So that particular board here has another little connector on it, and we're going to just pop that off. So you can see it's all completely disconnected. And I'll let you take a close-up look at the board itself if you'd like to see. Notice it does have Hitachi branded chips on it. That's because this VCR was made by Hitachi for RCA, for them to rebrand it and brag about it. And brag about it they do, as you saw at the beginning of this video. So go ahead and put this board apart, or on the side, not apart. All right, and so our next step is to remove the bottom board so that we can get to the gooey belts on the inside. So to do that, there's a couple of little clips here that are holding it in place. So I'm going to push those forward and kind of lift up on it a little bit. And as I do, I'm going to kind of lift up the board from underneath here. There are some connectors on the bottom of it that are holding this board plugged in electrically to the rest of the unit. And now you can see the inside. So those connectors are right here underneath the board. There's one right there, and there's one down here. Those are those connectors. So here's a couple of things I did to kind of get this VCR back to life. First off is I cleaned these pins right here. These pins that you see on both of these connectors. I took some sandpaper, and very light sandpaper, and sanded these. And now prior to doing that, this machine would not do anything. When you would hit the play button, it would just click. There was no functioning whatsoever. So that was my first step in getting this unit to sort of operate. And it sort of operates. I'll show it to you when we get it back together. The gooey belts are here, and you're going to need to remove this motor to get this belt off. All right. And then there's two other motors, or two other belts going across here, as you can see, and you're going to need to replace those as well. So these two here are actually little rubber gaskets that I found at Lowe's, and this is a real belt here on this one. So that's what that particular process did. So replace those two belts, and once you've done that, the other thing you're going to have to do is clean off the goo. All the goo that's going to be around this motor here and around this wheel and here and here. And you can do that by putting some alcohol on a towel, an old towel or an old t-shirt, and that will help you get all of that goo off of there. Again, I recommend you use rubber gloves because that goo will get all over you. The other belt that you're going to need to replace is on the top, also full of goo, and you need to remove a couple of pulleys to get to that belt. And there's also a tire on the top that's part of the rewind and fast forward functioning, and you're going to need to replace that tire as well. So I have not purchased a kit to replace all the belts and so forth, but I believe you can find kits that will allow you to do just that. Okay, so let's quickly look at the top part and see where those see where the belt is and the tire. All right, again, we are going to just kind of zoom down into this unit here. And there is a piece in this machine that broke off. It just simply did not want to survive a teardown. So I've removed a piece that used to bridge over from this part right here up to that wheel. That wheel that you see there is the one that's got the rubber tire on it that's going to have to be replaced. Okay, and I tried to find some gaskets at Lowe's that would fit that, and although I did find some that would fit it, I think they're number 18 gaskets. They simply aren't thick enough to yeah, they're number 18s. They're not thick enough to fit on there. So in any case, this is the belt that turned to goo, and that little white pulley that you see there on the right was completely covered with goo, and so was this spindle you see here. So this is the take-up spindle. So the theory behind this is that there's a motor underneath that turns, and when the motor underneath turns, it causes this wheel to swing either this way or this way. So if it swings this way, then you are fast forwarding, or you're taking up the tape, or if it swings back over this way, it's a rewind. You have a tensioner here that's made up of like a little foam, soft foam material, and then you have brake pads. So you have a brake pad that's right there, and you have a brake pad over here as well, and that's to stop the reels from spinning once you press the stop key. Okay, so there's that part in there, and then of course you'll want to get in here and clean the capstan and the pinch roller that you see there, and clean your 5-head video head. I guess that's where all those heads are. I don't know. They might be talking about the erase head over here, which might be a video head, or even the sync head over on this side. But this is probably just a 4-head VCR head right here, pickup head. Okay. So if you'd like to see what she does at this point, I've gone ahead and plugged in a 12-volt power supply here on the side. Just a universal power supply. It's a 12-volt, 2-amp power supply, maybe 2.5. And I'll go ahead and insert a tape in there so you can kind of see what she does. All right, and she doesn't do anything when you first put the tape in, but let's just kind of see mechanically what happens here. So on the front, I can control the unit. Stop is up here, rewind, fast forward, play. Those are the main functions that we're going to be using here. So let's go ahead and hit rewind and see what happens. So hit that button there. Oh, I got to turn it on first. So I'll turn that on. You'll hear it click when it turns on, and you'll see this LED light up. Yeah, you can see it's really struggling to rewind because of that tire we saw. So I'm going to go ahead and try fast forward. And you can kind of hear it popping around in there due to the slippage of that tire. Go ahead and hit stop, and we'll kind of watch it thread up here. It will thread if we're nice to it. And it will also, without the take up, it's also going to eat the tape. So if you've ever wondered why a VCR would eat the tape, it's because this take-up spindle is not turning. So let's see, if I hit play here again, you'll see it go ahead and thread up. That should be turning right now. Because it's not, looky there, we get it filled up with tape. And it's funny because the machine is smart enough to know that this reel is not turning. There's actually a thing underneath with little reflective parts on it, and it senses the movement of those reflective parts. So you can see that by removing the spindle. If you decide you want to remove the spindles on here, they each have these little plastic connectors on top. You can get a screwdriver underneath, and you just pry this off. Pry that little thing off of there. And then once if you decide you want to lubricate it underneath or something, you can do that. And then once you place it back on there, this just pushes back on, and you can use a screwdriver to kind of stab at it and get that particular little washer type C-clamp type thing on there. This one has one too, and so does the little pulley underneath there. It has a clear one on it. Same thing down here on the side. You can see that one, that pulley there on the right of your screen also has one of those little vinyl, I guess, attachments, plastic attachments. So now another strange problem that this VCR did when I first got it was there was a rubbing sound coming from this side on the rewind. And what I did is I removed the spindle and I put an extra washer underneath. And by doing that, it seemed to work better. So that's just kind of an insight into the unit itself. It's kind of a fun VCR to work on. But I think the capacitors are an issue with this machine, and due to its age, it may not be worth your time messing with it. But in any case, it's not unlike many other VCRs, except most of the VCRs I find actually do work and simply just need belts and pulleys and stuff replaced on them. But this one is the exception to the rule. This particular one needs a lot more love than that. So it's weird too, because sometimes this digital tape counter will come on and other times it doesn't come on. It's kind of strange. And other times it actually just has a bunch of nonsense on the screen there. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little overview. I had a lot of fun putting together that video at the front of this video as well, kind of editing that old 1984 Video Systems video disc for you there. And hope you enjoyed that. Please share this with a friend and like my channel. Subscribe to it as well if you don't mind, and like this video and leave some comments below. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to more great videos on amazing old tech.